Good morning, scholars. How's everyone? Good morning.
Morning.
Okay. So let me tell you your agenda right quick. So we're going to do two things, well, several things. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to review again fragments. If you recall, Thursday I said that I will be continuously assessing your skill development. And I asked you to review two things. One, to review fragments again, because I was going to test you on that, and also organizational patterns. Well, I'm not going to test you on organizational patterns today, but I will do that because I thought about it and I said perhaps that was a little much. So I am going to do it on Wednesday. However, you are going to practice and see where you are with respect to fragments. And then we will be discussing chapter 7. This week we're on chapter 7. And we're going to do a little bit of work on viewing some of the organizational patterns today. So the first thing I'm going to do, or you're going to do, is to take a 10 sentence mini review of fragments. I have, and that will appear at exactly 11:10. You will have 15 minutes to complete this exercise. Each sentence will appear by itself, and all you have to do is to read it and decide one of two things. One, if it is a complete sentence, or two, if it is a fragment. If it is a complete sentence, you will type a capital C in the box. If it is a fragment, you will type in small letters FRAG for fragment. There are 10 sentences. You will have exactly 5 fragments and 5 complete sentences. I made it easy peasy lemon squeezy. This should be your very first A because I know that by now you can identify a fragment and a complete sentence. We've been talking about it for over 2 weeks now. Following that, you will have another opportunity, another quiz, as it were, to work in pairs. But if I don't see the fourth person, I will let you all work as a team of 3 to complete the second assignment on fragments and complete sentences. The difference is you're going to look at an entire paragraph. You're going to read a paragraph. The sentences are numbered from 1 to 20. There will be 20 sentences in the paragraph. And you're essentially going to do the same thing as this first quiz. You're going to read the sentence and you're going to decide if it is a fragment and type FRAG in the box, or if it's a complete sentence and type a capital C in the box. It's just that I want you, it's easier to identify fragments if it's just a single sentence. I want you to be able to identify fragments in a paragraph form as well. So both of them are located on quizzes and exams. The first one that's going to show up is the mini quiz on identifying fragments. That is from 11:10 to 11:25. And then I'm going to come back and see if your fourth classmate has arrived, and then I will put you into 2 or 1 breakout group by 11:30 when the second assignment will show up. And because it is a paragraph, I gave you a little bit more time to work on it because I didn't want you to feel rushed. So it's 20 sentences, but I gave you 30 minutes to work on that assignment because I want you to get good grades, but I want you to learn these skills. Very important that I reinforce learning the skills that you're going to need. After that, we're going to go over some organizational patterns, at least 3, because it's a lot of them today. So I said that real quick, but I hope you got, are there any questions? So your first task is 2 quizzes. One by yourself, second one shared pair. So would you all go to quizzes and exams, please? And the first one that says 1 through 10 for today will show up in a minute or so. Okay? Good luck. I want good grades. I'm sure you will do it because this is an easy skill. I'm just reinforcing it. All right? Everybody understand?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to mute myself now so you can do your thing and do it well. Good luck, scholars. I don't even have to say good luck because I know you got this. Quizzes and exams, please. I'm now going to move you to your breakout groups. I hope everybody did very well on that easy peasy lemon squeezy assignment, right?
Yep.
Okay, that's what I want to hear. Come on, Ray and Natia. I know you did well. It was easy.
I did.
Oh my goodness. Well, you're going to be working in a group for this one. Let's kick it up a notch.
Am I by myself?
Nope, I'm moving you.
Oh.
Give me a minute. I'm working it out, baby doll.
No, I did.
Oh, I know it. What she say? Oh my goodness, then.
Well, I don't know. How'd you do?
Average. Not the best, but average.
What about you, Dottie?
Okay, I got you all in one group now. Now I want everybody to do well, so pay attention and you all talk. I will not be listening. I'm going to give you the entire 30 minutes. I will be back at 12. If you finish before 12, then, just take a stretch and what have you, okay? But really, I want you to take your time and do a good job. This will be a similar assignment for your homework. So you're practicing now as a team. So you can do the same assignment for homework.
Oh yeah, Aria. I had did I was in the see the thing is I was on the toilet, so like I just had hurried up. I think I would have did a little better if I kind of rushed through the last two, whatever. But I did pretty good. I think I got a better understanding of it. I was just rushing.
Yeah,
Yeah. This one come in at 11:30, right?
Yeah.
I think so.
Anybody heard from Elena?
No.
No, she
I
completely
was about to
disappeared
ask
out of the
you.
blue.
I was about to ask you
I
about
was
your
wondering
cousin.
too.
I just sent her a text, like, right after I finished that.
Women's one. Women.
Y'all started yet?
I don't know.
Mm-mm.
Alright. Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think number one is a complete sentence.
Yeah, I was thinking that. I
Yeah.
just figured.
So we have to type
Oh,
in
like
frag if it's a fragment?
yeah,
Yeah. FRAG.
Yeah.
or a capital C again.
So it's
Two.
number 2. I would say is frag, right?
Oh yeah. Damn, that small last sentence. I didn't even see it at first.
Is 3 complete?
I don't know. It look a little funny, don't it?
Yeah, you're. So she said first I, and then said all the actions in the small cubes. And then if you put a comma, I guess you could say it. Number 3, you could probably say it in a sentence.
It's a what?
Number 3, I bet you could probably do a standalone sentence.
Oh,
So that's a
what sentence?
I'm looking at number 3.
So let's see or frag.
I think it's a complete
yeah,
sentence.
cause it don't make it don't no, but look, it got two ands, and then it don't got no. I don't know. That just don't look
Does it
right
have a
to me.
subject and a verb?
No. Wait, yeah.
Well, if they put a comma between sweet onion and green pepper, I think that would be okay.
Exactly.
But since it don't, it's
Right.
gotta be a frag.
Exactly. It just look and like
Yeah.
okay. Did you ever do that 5-hour assignment, Sean?
No, not even gonna try it.
Neither did I.
We didn't do it either.
Well, I
4.
found the
Okay,
vegetable
4, I believe, is frag.
Yeah. A brown some lean ground beef. I think that's a complete sentence. Number 6, right? Or 5?
Wait, we on number
5.
5.
5.
Well,
Yeah.
That looks like a complete sentence.
Yeah.
then combine the 2 mixtures.
That's gotta be a fragment.
That's a fragment.
Because how I see it is if you could just take it alone, can it make sense?
And add a can of shiny red kidney beans.
That's a fragment, I think. Wasn't it?
What?
Number 7. And add a can of shiny red kidney beans.
Yeah, because it's starting with and. You can't start a sentence with and, right?
I think you could,
Right.
but as long as there's another subject in it. Next, I decided.
They don't got no verb.
Yeah, I don't have a verb.
Next, I decide what kind of seasoning to use.
That sounds like a complete sentence to me. Because it has a subject and a verb.
Yep.
In addition to chili peppers, hot pepper flakes, and Tabasco sauce.
Would that be a fragment?
It says. I mean, if I just said, in addition to chili powder, hot pepper flakes, and Tabasco sauce, does that sound right? If I just said it alone?
No.
Yeah, I don't think it does sound right. Like, it feels like it's missing something.
Yeah.
I sometimes add unusual ingredients. That could be a complete, right?
Yeah, I was gonna say it sounds like a complete actually. They be tricky. Them small ones be so tricky.
Yeah.
Like molasses, cinnamon, chocolate, beer, red wine, or raisins.
There is no subject in that sentence at all, or no verb in that sentence. That's gotta be a frag.
12 is
During
complete, right? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, that's fun. Stirring the bubbling pot and inhaling the spicy aromas. There's got to be a
That's a
fragment. It doesn't
complete,
sound
right?
right.
It doesn't. It kind of do though.
I mean, if you're like telling someone how to do it step by step, that can
Mm-hmm.
be a complete sentence given the context
Mm-hmm.
prior. But
I mean, you are kind of telling them what to do, right?
yeah, because you're not. It's not choppy. Like stir. It's like for instance, if it said stir, boiling pot, um, and then spicy aromas, that would be a fragment. But it's saying stirring the bubbling pot and inhaling the spicy aromas. That both has subjects
Right.
and verbs.
Right. Okay.
So it'd be
So what would it be?
complete. You know how like beforehand it was uh like molasses, cinnamon, chocolate, beer, red wine, or raisins. There's no descriptions in there. So that's how that's a fragment
Right.
versus this is complete.
Okay.
Mhm.
I officially taste the. You might as well teach the class. Shit.
No.
I occasionally taste the mixture to make sure it's good.
I think that's complete. I'm struggling just as much
Yeah.
as y'all. No way I can fucking teach a class.
No, you do a good job, man. Give yourself some credit. I mean, because it's saying it's tasting it and it's telling you what it's about, what it's
Yeah.
tasting.
Like the next sentence, I cook the chili over a flame as long as possible. I think you could sit that by yourself. Like, even without a context, the context prior, you would know that that sentence makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think like if you were to text these things to a friend, like having a conversation, would this make sense?
Most of these wouldn't.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. To give the flavors time to mellow and blend together. There's got to be a fragment.
Yeah, that's a fragment. Also, longer cooking time produces spicier chili. That's correct, I think. Right?
Let's see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
My chili has caused beads of perspiration to form on the mouth.
I think that's a complete sentence.
Yeah. And has made friends reach desperately for a glass of water.
I think that's a
Mm-mm.
frag.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
However, no one has ever complained. I think that's complete.
Blame.
I don't know. It's a complete.
Well, we know what they're complaining
Yeah, because
about
it's
because of
telling
the
them what it's
previous
doing.
sentence. The sentence doesn't have
Right,
a
right, right.
subject or verb in it.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this one has a verb. Has ever as a verb. Or has as ever
True.
is a verb. So it's, however, no one is a subject, has the verb, and then complaint is the complained is the
Subject.
compound. Not compound, but
Okay, so
another
complete.
noun. Yeah.
Subject. Oh. Or for context for a second.
Okay, so let's see.
That's a fragment.
Yeah, the last one's a fragment.
Well, I mean, 19 was that C?
Yeah, 19 was C. I mean, if someone texts you, however, no one
And
has ever
20 is
complained about a subject, that would make sense.
Did
20
anybody
is a
submit?
fragment. Okay.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, done.
90 out of 100. It's not too bad.
We didn't get
You know. Why don't a lot of these show you which ones you got wrong so you can review them? That would help so much. Like if you could go back and see, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
yeah.
John, you sound sleepy today. You had a long weekend.
Yeah, Father's Day ended up running real long.
Yeah. Y'all power didn't go out or anything, did it? Because they was saying that yesterday.
Nah, but
Sorry,
did the day
okay.
before.
Oh.
Thankfully, I was already out.
Mine didn't.
That's good. That's-
You got a cold there? Mm-mm.
My allergies be messing up a lot. I know my stomach was bubbling. When she started getting directions, I'm like, oh my God, this is the wrong time for this. This is terrible. I don't even know what I ate. I eat yesterday.
Well, I hope you had the opportunity to do well. It's good practice for your homework. So I think I'm going to share that with you first, and then we're going to finish up with going over 3 of the organizational patterns. Let me get ready to share my screen. Okay, can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So let's go through again and make note of your homework so I can go on. So let's look at the syllabus. So we should just go right straight down what's on there. So this is week 6. We're at the halfway mark. By the way, you will probably be taking your midterm paragraph writing on Wednesday. So this is week 6, and you will see that you're going to be covering chapter 7, which is text purposes and patterns. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 videos for your assignment, okay? You've already done unit 3, so I'm not assigning a unit this week. So from there, we go to quizzes and exams. So let me show you what you're going to do. So if you notice, starting here on my screen, I went through chapter 7 and read chapter 7, and I typed up the practice exercises. Not all of them, but most of them. So you see you're going to be doing chapter 7 because that's what was stated in the syllabus. So all of your homework will appear at 1 o'clock. And then again, it's due by Saturday the 26th by 6 o'clock p.m. So you're going to do chapter 7. And in my instructions, I said read chapter 7 slowly and carefully a couple of times, then go back and do the practice exercises before you put the answers on Blackboard. I want to caution you that I told you it's going to ask you about the topic sentences. You have to type the exact sentence from the paragraph that you're going to be reading. I put that in the instructions to make it quite clear, because if you don't do that, you're going to get it marked wrong. And I know I was explicit in my directions this time. I also gave you an examples. There are some questions that ask you to identify details or more than one. I gave you an example this time because John was saying that was not clear. So if it's like an item, I would tell you to put a comma only, but I gave examples this time so that you would write it clearly. You will see identifying fragments in a paragraph. These two came from Unit 2. It's Quiz 1 and Quiz 2. They are exactly like what you just did for your shared pair, only you'll be doing it by yourself. You're going to have to read the passage very carefully and identify 8 fragments. 8. And you're going to have to type that fragment exactly as you find it in the paragraph. So if you get it out of order, you're going to get it marked wrong. So please read it more than once and then start to choose the fragments. So that's quiz 1 and quiz 2.
We can't see your screen.
I just asked you and she said yes.
It just went out.
Well, that must be a technological glitch that I didn't do. So you're going to have to listen. Oh, let me see. Maybe I'll do it again. Let me exit out and start again, okay? Let me do it again. I tell you, with this technology, it's something else. Sometimes it's on and sometimes it's off. Okay, let me try it again. Go back. Okay, are you with me this time? Can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Okay, well, hopefully it'll hold this time. I'm going back to quizzes and exams. Quiz 1, quiz 2, chapter 7. 1, 2, 3. All's gonna show up at 1 o'clock. You've already taken these two, so those grades are there. Okay. Oh man, I needed to go back because I need to show you. Ooh. I'm going to English Connect again to show you what you have to do for English Connect. Come on, Carmen. I clicked off too soon. Okay, you seeing my screen again? Hello, John, are you seeing the
Yeah.
screen or no? Okay, I forgot to go to English Connect. Here's English Connect. You're probably gonna do the midterm Wednesday, and I will assign that. I'm gonna have to send you the prompt. We have prompts that they give us, and we have to give each student a different prompt, and they will write a paragraph. So you already know what a paragraph is. It begins with a topic sentence. It has 3 or 4, in your case, 4 major ideas, followed by examples and a concluding sentence. That's the format you will be using. Okay, so here's the English Connect. You see it's showing up at 1, avoiding sentence errors. Showing up at 1 o'clock. That's the one that you have to do for this week. Avoiding sentence errors. We're going to go, I didn't assign you a reading this week, but we're going to go to vocabulary practice. And you will see that I assigned already vocabulary for chapter 7. You see it's due by 6 o'clock. Chapter 7.
It disappeared.
I beg your pardon?
It disappeared.
Well, then listen and write it down because it's the same thing you've been doing every week. Go
You
to
said avoiding
vocabulary.
sentence errors, right?
Right, that's for the English Connect.
Okay.
And then I want you to go down to the vocabulary. Remember how you do the vocabulary every week?
Yeah.
Okay, you want to do chapter 7 vocabulary, only chapter 7. I don't know, it must be something wrong with my technology, so I don't know. So I'm going to try to tell you. So I'm still in English Connect. I'm going back to English Connect. So we got the vocabulary. I didn't do any sentences. Then go all the way down. From vocabulary practice, you go to I wonder why. Did you all do chapter 6, supporting paragraphs? Because I don't see that shaded out in my Blackboard. I'll check on that. Go to chapter 7. It says chapter 7, text purposes and patterns. And remember, I was giving you the application and that didn't work. Click on that. Click on chapter 7, text purposes and patterns. When you click on that, I want you to go to chapter 7, write this down, comprehension test. chapter 7 comprehension test, and right underneath it says writers, readers, purpose, audience, and tone. That's the only two that I want you to do under chapter 7. So I will repeat that. Click on chapter 7, text purposes and patterns. Do only 2 of those items. Chapter 7 comprehension test, and the one immediately following it called writers, readers, purpose, audience, and tone. Those are the only 2 that I need you to do. And I'm not assigning a unit this week. Because you've already done units 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to wait till next week and I'm going to assign unit 4. So I'm giving you a break from all of that. But you still have enough to do. Okay. So with that said, I want to go over 3, because chapter 6 is all about organizational patterns. So I want to go over the 3 that I'm doing today, and I'll try to go over the rest next week. So the first one is talking about is narration. I don't know, did I go over narration already with you, or that was just me studying it? Oops. Well, anyway, I'm going to go over narration. It's going to go over how you would craft a narrative paragraph or essay. So we already learned that a narrative paragraph is telling the story. So these are the things and I already had you copy the 4 basics of paragraphs and essays. So you already know what should be included in a narrative, a good narrative paragraph. So it says here, what factors make a story interesting? So when you're writing a story or a narrative paragraph or a narrative essay, you will most likely write about a story about yourselves that give information about something that you have experienced growing up or recently and or curious about. It's a story that gives insights into human relationships. Like I said, I usually assign a literary narrative that you speak about who impacted you in learning how to read or write. What teacher? It could be your mom, your dad, your sister, somebody. You tend to write stories that involve dramatic events, such as human tragedy, natural disasters, death experiences, or you're going to write about something that will make us all think in writing your narrative. So they give you some examples. Like, what would you find this story interesting, or would you find this story interesting? If you're writing a story about a train derailment that happened right behind your house, would that be something interesting, John? Would that be an interesting narrative paragraph or essay to you? And if so, what might you include in it? What's one thing you might put in there?
Probably the cause or the amount of destruction.
Yeah, very good, very good. This one is writing a story about the birth. Well, that probably wouldn't apply to you guys. Hopefully, maybe your mom or dad might think about that. You know, how they felt when you were born. That's a different story. You can't write to that. Would this be interesting? Starting to drink at age 11 and becoming an alcoholic by 15. Hopefully this does not apply, but if somebody wrote that story, Natia, what would you include in a paragraph or essay if somebody became an alcoholic? Not you, nobody in your family. What would you include in that essay or paragraph? What might be one detail you might put in there?
I guess you would just tell them. I mean, I think a lot of times people tell why they're doing it.
Yeah, it could be started because you were depressed about something,
That's what I'm
you
saying.
had a disappointment about something, you didn't feel that you had anybody to talk to, so you use that as a means of escape. Very good. And this one, oh Lord, this I have a horror story about this. So I visited a friend. It was horrible. I know that they had this, but this would be a scary story, a narrative. If I had to write about a house infected with vermin of any sort, cockroaches, mice, any kind of thing. I wouldn't talk about that. Would be a horror story. That wouldn't be a narrative. But I have had that experience, and it was really interesting because I didn't know people lived like that when I was young. Would this be an interesting story? This is the thing. Everybody and their mama want to smoke. Well, I don't want to say that. Everybody is talking about it. States has legalized it. They didn't get my vote for it because I do feel that marijuana does change your brain waves and your ability to think rationally and make good decisions. And they talk about don't smoke, Mary J, when you're driving. So if it impairs you to the degree that if you caught driving under the influence, then why is that a good thing? But anyway, Araya, let me see. Yes, my other one. What would you put in a paragraph or an essay about Mary Jane? If you were around it, they have these stores all over the place now, unfortunately.
What would I put in a paragraph about marijuana?
Yeah, what detail would you include if you uh, around? I said, I'm sure you didn't grow up on a farm, but now we have these medical marijuana dispensaries all over the place. And if you notice, they're more so in urban areas than they are in suburban areas. So you have all these other folk coming down here doing crazy things and being stupid in the city when they don't live here. But what is one thing you might include? I'm not saying you're using it, just an idea.
Well, I don't know much about it, but maybe I would ask why is it so popular? Why is it so interesting?
Yeah, why it's so popular? Why do people really need it? And of course, there's statistics and information you can find either way. Okay. Well, anyway, that's just an idea of if you were writing a narrative, paragraph, or essay, how you would think about it. You want to make it interesting, capture the reader's attention about that experience. And it's easier if it's something that you experience. So that's pretty much what you do in a narrative. So that's the narrative paragraph. The next one that we also talked about that's on your list that I sent you is a definition paragraph. So the definition, what does that look like? What would that involve? The definition paragraph. So usually in a definition paragraph, you're going to be talking about a term or a concept that's important. You know, you're going to define that term, and you're going to give examples to clarify the definition. So it says definition is used for a variety of purposes, and those include providing information to help the reader understand specific concepts. It can be used to explain your own personal, unique meaning of a concept. It can be used to examine the history of how a term has been defined. And we'll be talking about etymology when we talk about the origin of a word. That term is etymology that you may see. Or it can be used to make an argument about how a term should be defined. So that's about the definition, plus you have your notes on the signal words and what it looks like. So it says you want to use definitions to define concepts. So we have this paragraph. It says bullying is unwanted aggressive behavior among students. I don't necessarily want to say because college students can be bullied too. Anyway, it's among students that involve a real or perceived power imbalance. Somebody want to make themselves be puffed up, as it were. The behavior is repeated or has the potential to be repeated over time. And it says both kids who are bullied and who bully others may have serious lasting problems. So that is the definition of bullying. And this one is this unwanted aggressive behavior. Now here is how they define the term disability. It says you can use the definition paragraph to present a unique personal meaning based on your experience. This is interesting. We all have our concept of what is a disability, but he wants to talk about disability from his unique perspective. And it says some people think disability is a condition that makes a person unable to fully participate in life. Others think a disability is a condition that means a person needs extra help or accommodations. Some people who have disabilities believe a disability is a condition that puts them in a special category and separates them from having the goals, dreams, or lifestyles of most other people. While people are free to define disability the way they want, to me, a disability is simply a challenge to be overcome. And that was his unique perspective. And I find that interesting because there are a lot of people with disabilities that we can't see. We can't look at them. I think we focus on the ones that we can see, like he's in a wheelchair, or the people that we see on TV that have the prosthetic limbs, the legs, you know, like the military people that come out or come home from war, maimed and missing arms, missing legs, etc. But there are people that have disabilities, particularly mental disabilities, or say autism, Asperger's, and that kind of thing, that we can't look at them and tell necessarily, but it's a disability or special needs nevertheless. Also, you can use a definition to examine the history of how the word has been used over time. And so you see these pictures here, the definition of a good mother has changed over time. You know, you have back in the day, women stayed at home and raised their children. And you can see the course, and we had, unfortunately, we just celebrated Juneteenth. Back in the day, during the era of slavery, we have the slave women taking care of the master and mistress children, their nannies. And now you see that, hey, moms are working there in the workplace and raising the children the same time. So it has definitely changed through over the course of history. And then it says you can use the definition paragraph or essay to make an argument about the meaning of a term or concept. And this one is, what is a right to privacy? That has really changed with the advent of technology. You have FERPA when it comes to students' information. Me as a professor and as an academic coach at my other institution, we cannot divulge anything to your parents or anybody about your grades, anything like that, without you as the adult, because you become an adult when you step into the college arena without your permission. We can't do that unless you say. So if someone were to come to my office and I deal with students on academic probation, I would have to stop the mom or dad and say, do you have permission? And I have to look it up to see if they sign a waiver indicating that I could discuss their child's academic progress in front of them. If the child says no, then mom and dad have to wait. That's what the school arena, and that's doctor. And then you're looking at someone going through, okay, what is that, an airport, and how we have to go through and all that kind of stuff. So privacy, the meaning of privacy has definitely changed in the technological arena. You have to put all these safeguards, and we still not successful, you know, on our laptops and Norton 360 and every doggone thing you can think of, and people still hack. And even these big corporations, they hack the information. So definitely privacy, or the right to privacy, has changed because it's getting harder and harder to do. So that talks about the idea of defining terms in a definition paragraph. And the last one that I'm going to talk about today is illustration, which you know means to give examples. So let's look at how what that would look like. Illustrations are everywhere, and they are. So in an illustration paragraph, it says illustrations or multiple examples are used with vague, complex, or broad ideas that are difficult to understand or hard to understand. And so one thing, they're talking about technology for one, and that is something unique. But it says robocalls, which are phone calls initiated by a computer using a software program that involves a series of steps. So in this one, they give you an illustration of that. And illustrations sometimes are used for more concrete, they're more concrete and specific than the ideas they explain. And they were talking about how an example of that will be these robocalls that senior citizens, you know, on the news periodically, they're telling senior citizens, don't give out your information, how they have scammed senior citizens out of thousands and thousands, hundreds of dollars in this. And I just listen to them. Sometimes I have a landline that I use to take my messages. And I am amazed that almost every day somebody's calling and said, hey, you sent this package from Amazon and you need to call us right away to get your account. And I don't even use Amazon. I don't even use online purchasing. So I say, nope, I know that's not true. But anyway, that's interesting. It said, if you answer the phone and hear a recorded message instead of a live person, it's a robocall. And they'll used to say, hey, I'm Kathy. I'm calling you about, oh my goodness. And I just hang up immediately. But now as a rule, I try not, if I don't recognize the number, I don't answer it. You've probably gotten robocalls about candidates running for office or charities asking for donations. These robocalls are legal, but if the recording is a sales message, and you haven't given your written permission to get calls from the company on the other end, the call is illegal. In addition to the phone calls being illegal, their pitch most likely is a scam. So we always have to be mindful of that. And I simply don't answer the ones if I don't know anything about them, or if I happen to pick up if I'm in the car because you can't tell, I just hang up immediately. It says, for example, Mark Martinez, a travel agent in Florida, was having breakfast one morning when he answered a phone call. The voice on the other end of the line was a computerized recording, and the recording told Mark he had won a complete vacation in Sarnia, Florida. All he would have to pay is that $199 service fee. Knowing that no such place existed, Mark hung up the phone. He had just received a robocall and it was a scam. So the illustration here is an example. It provided specific information. So you got to beware. And I think on your homework, there is a paragraph and it's going to ask you after you read for your homework that's coming up, one of the quizzes, I don't know which one it is, but it's going to ask you if the paragraph is real or hypothetical. And based on your answer, you're going to ask why. And I'm going to tell you this hint. If it's real, it will have to have specific examples that can be substantiated if it's real. So the examples are something that you can look up that you can find out. If it does not give specific examples that can be substantiated, it's probably hypothetical. So I want you to remember that when you're doing your homework, the difference between real and hypothetical. Then it says illustrations may be examples. You can use visual aids, quotations, sample statistics, or other concrete examples. So that's the key here. So you see a picture, we have experienced a huge increase in the number of robocalls we are receiving, etc. So they want to give you specific examples. And here we go talk about that hypothetical that I want you to remember when you run into it. It's going to be on one of those quizzes where you're going to have to identify what's a fragment and what is not. The 8 fragments. So it says examples can be actual or hypothetical. In that case, it'll say real or hypothetical. So it says, imagine your grandmother is in her 80s, lives alone, and is on a fixed income. Her phone rings and she answers it. The voice on the other end sounds like a real person. Mrs. Martin, we need you to stay on the line for a moment while we transfer you to a customer service representative. She will provide you with details about a recent transaction involving your credit card. Please hold. Your grandmother holds and is eventually transferred to a kind young woman who explains the fraud. Your grandmother confirms your credit card number and security code, and the young woman assures her that the fraudulent activity will not appear on her statement. Welcome to the world of robocalling scams. And that does happen quite a bit. So we all have to be aware of that. Seems like these telemarketers get our telephone numbers as many times as we change the phone. I guess they just, companies sell the numbers. And last one, I think this one is illustrations are often followed by explanations. So here's an explanation, an example of an explanation. It says, while robocalling scams depend on databases of phone numbers and personal information, scammers especially value the contact information of elderly people. Knowing the kind of information that sounds credible, scammers carefully write scripts that include enough personal information to entice the victim to hold the line. Once the expertly trained customer representative gets on the line, the scammers have a variety of methods they use to get the information they desire. Also, they have successful illustrations result in greater understanding. And they say, hey, we don't do business with robots. Yes, that's good. I always ask to speak to somebody. So that's the gist of what illustration paragraphs look like in your 3 patterns, the multiple pattern organizational patterns that we talked about and that you should be studying. So again, please review the structure of a paragraph, which I already gave you last week. Because I don't know what the topic is. I go on and I look for the topics that they give the instructors to use for the midterm. And then you just write from that topic. You make your own. You will have an hour and a half to do that essay. I mean, it's a paragraph, not an essay. It's just a paragraph. So you're going to be given a topic sentence. You're going to craft it. You're going to come up with 4 major reasons followed by examples and a concluding sentence, and you will be well. And there will be topics that you know about, something general. It won't be something like explain, how the real estate steps and buying a house. It will be something general that you can come up with ideas on. Okay? Are there any questions? No questions? Okay, so you have been given your charge. I've explained everything to you. I want you to really read. Gotta read these chapters more than one time before you go to Blackboard and start doing the work. Because everything is time. I timed it based on you having read the chapter several times and completing the exercises or practice. In this case, chapter 7 is practice exercise. You have to complete those before you go to Blackboard, because it's not going to give you time to go flipping back and forth and reading a chapter. So please read the chapter a couple times. If you need to read it 3 times, read it 3 times. It's just the 3 of you guys. You all can meet in the Blackboard course room and talk about the ideas. Make sure that you all understand, and every one of you should pass the class. I can only present the information. I can't make you study. I'm giving you the ideas and trying to encourage you to do your best work all the time, but that's about the best that I can do. So you got a little time. It's 12:38. I suggest you take a break and relax, and recite, and then follow your budget that you have, your study schedule to the best of your ability, okay?
Okay.
Right, then have a good evening or afternoon, okay? Get some rest, but come back to your work too. Okay,
Okay.
class is dismissed.